What's up guys, this is MasterFiggy and I am bringing you another anime review. This time I will be reviewing One Piece Movie 3, Chopper's Kingdom in the Strange Animal Island. So, the story of this movie is Chopper gets separated from the rest of the Straw Hats. He's flung into the air off the ship and lands on this island populated by animals, only with one human living among them. I forget his name, so I'm just going to call him Mowgli for the sake of the review. And basically, their king has died and they believe Chopper is the new king because of some prophecy or something, and he just fell out of the sky. I mean, what other sign do you need that he's the king? And while that's going on, the Straw Hats actually make it to the island by chance and start looking for Chopper. There they meet the antagonists of the movie. Three pirates that are looking for this horn, and the only reason they're pirates is, or that I'm saying that they're pirates, is because, well, what other villains are there in One Piece? I mean, there's no other villains except for pirates. Well, I guess they're the antagonists as well. And I suppose they could be antagonists as well in the series. Okay, I get the picture. There's different antagonists throughout the One Piece series, but a lot of the times in the movies, they are other pirates. Now, as I said already, they're looking for these horns of an animal that can grant them some weird magical power. They never exactly say what it is, but it is revealed later on at the end of the movie, and I will not spoil that for people. But yeah, when they first meet the Straw Hats, Zoro and Sanji immediately get pissed off by the main antagonist henchman, because one guy says he's the most beautiful man in the world and the other guy says he's the strongest man in the world, and that just pisses Zoro and Sanji off just like that. So in terms of audio, there is no English dub again for this movie, but it does have the original One Piece cast as it did in the previous movies and in the movies that followed after this, which is great to see. And the voice acting with the other characters that are introduced into this film is pretty okay. There's like two birds, the only two animals that actually speak human language on the island. One's kind of like an old guy, a weird mix of an old guy and a bird. Well, the other one's quite a youthful bird, I guess, and the voice acting for them is pretty decent. The antagonist voice acting is pretty good as well. I mean, nothing really stands out apart from the main Straw Hats voice acting. The music as well in this film, again, nothing particular stands out as much. It's about average that you'd see in a regular One Piece episode, really. Actually, even less memorable than that, really. I can't even think of any theme. I don't even know if they have the main theme in this film. But in terms of audio, there's nothing great in this film. And in terms of animation and design, the Straw Hats are wearing different clothing in this film, and apart from Luffy, I don't really like the outfits that they're wearing in this. I don't know, they just didn't seem right. Well, Zoro seemed okay, but the rest of them, I don't know, they didn't appeal to me that much. Then there's the antagonists. They don't really look great in my opinion. The designs, I don't know, that I felt as if they lacked something. I don't know how to put it, but they didn't really stand out as much to me. It was more their personalities that rather than their designs that stood out. With the animals, on the other hand, the designs on them were really cool. Like, you had such strange animals, like, as I said before, the two birds that could talk. There was the really weird old looking bird, so like a shaman type thing. And there's like these giant rocks that were actually rhinos, which were pretty cool. And then there's the weird creatures that like the antagonist actually controls with a flute that he uses to ram into other animals, and while he tears off their horns of the ones that they've already beaten down. Um, those are pretty cool. Um, the environment itself, especially where Zoro fights his opponent, is pretty cool. I really like the detail in that. But as you know, when the Straw Hats dress up as animals, I thought those were pretty cool. Like the costumes themselves were pretty shammy, but I still thought they were pretty cool. Just to see really, the simplicity of them really was what attracted me to them, which was pretty nice in my opinion. One thing that annoyed me about this film was that I felt as if it was supposed to be aimed more at Chopper, in a way that Chopper is the one that's supposed to be able to defeat the bad guy. It's all about him because this film is actually made after the Drum Island arc, and you got the feeling that Chopper didn't feel as if he belonged as such. I think that was the whole point of this film, and just having Luffy just beat up the uh, the enemy captain, and I felt that was a bit of a letdown in a way. Like maybe let have Luffy fight him. I suppose it would have been shammy if Luffy fought him and Luffy lost and then Chopper winning, because Luffy is stronger than Chopper. But I kind of would have liked it if just Chopper just fought him by himself, and Luffy just sort of accepted that. But no, it was just mainly like, okay, we're gonna have a film about Chopper, but we're just gonna give people what they want and have Luffy fight, which is okay. But if you're gonna have a film about Chopper, have Chopper fight the antagonist, And that was my little peeve with the film. But in terms of fights, the fights weren't great either. The only thing that stood out to me about the fights were when Zoro fought his opponent, and the first time I saw this film was online subbed before I bought it, and the subs for it were a bit different. After Zoro defeated the guy, his opponent was always on about, I have the strongest kicks ever. They're the greatest in the world. And then when Zoro defeated him, he was like, I know a guy who has stronger kicks than you, and he's an effing pain in the ass. I just loved that when I saw that in the subs. And I could just imagine if Chris Sabat was actually dubbing that, and I just imagine him saying it. It was just hilarious to hear that in my head. But apart from that, the fights weren't that entertaining. Bar Zoro's fight, it had that one good scene. But Usopp and Nami's thing with those rampaging animals, Sanji's fight with that prince guy or whatever he was, and Luffy and Chopper's fight against the main antagonist, nothing really stood out among those fights really. The story itself, as I said at the beginning of this video, it's about average in my opinion. I mean, I didn't think it was absolutely amazing. It was a pretty basic story. A lot of it is very predictable, like the whole thing with Mowgli's father, how he died, and then it was pretty obvious who actually killed him, and that was just, it wasn't even really needed in my opinion. It was one of those basic stories. One guy wants to just take power and Luffy stops him. That's pretty much it. And I felt that this, compared to the other two movies, it was a bit weaker in terms of the story. Like, I know the first one was pretty generic, pirates looking for gold, but that's more logical, especially with Nami, with her obsession with gold, and also the the antagonist captain in that, using his dragon roar power or whatever it was, and then also the story in the second film that was a lot more entertaining. Even the antagonists in that were pretty cool. Um, yeah, this is actually this had nothing to do with the story, but this is the first time the Trump siblings are not in the One Piece movies, and unfortunately, they won't be in any others after the second one. Um, Hopefully they make an appearance. Maybe, I don't know. I just thought it would have been cool if they actually had sort of a running thing with the movies. So my final verdict for this film, uh, I give it a 5.4. I mean, really, there's not really much going for it. The animation is an improvement, but I do prefer the animation in the second one and the first one over this. Most people will agree that this film has better animation, but I prefer the other two. Story wise, it's not great, and if you're looking for a chopper story, I would not watch this one. So, I have reviews of the other movies. Check that out. Check out more of my other videos. Subscribe, like, tell me what you thought of this movie, and I will be continuing doing One Piece movie reviews unless people write down below what animes they'd like me to review. So thank you for watching, and this is MasterFiggy signing off.